Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Podcast. My name is Mike Williams. I'm joined by Mr. Jake Kulkowski and Liam Mckelvey.
Hello.
How's it going? This week we're going to be talking about a few things. Gaming CEOs. That's exciting. Cool. Red Dead Redemption 2, the new trailer that came out at the end last week. We haven't really made any content on it yet. And Cuphead, which is a game that everyone's talking about. So let's talk about that first, I guess. You both have played it, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Liam finished it.
What is it about? What is it?
You know what it's about. A man with a cup of head. They
Done. Move on.
Gaming CEOs. Him and his mate go gambling.
A story.
Yeah, they go gambling. Mugman is his mate, and they go gambling in the devil's sort of playhouse, devil's casino, and they lose their souls in a bet. And they're like, "Oh no, don't take my soul." And the devil's like, "Right, okay, I'll give you your soul if you do this little thing for me." And they kind of become. Have you seen Can't Pay Will Take It Away on the telly?
It's a good job you don't write like summaries for a living, like DVD box.
Well, they've kind of become the devil's bailiffs, and they have to go around getting the souls of all
That's
these
good.
plants.
That's good. That's boom. Summaried. They kind of become the devil's bailiffs.
Yeah.
What? It's
Can't
called
Pay
Cuphead.
Will Take It Away Cup Edition. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, Cuphead. It came out on September the 29th, which was Friday. On PC and Xbox One. Made by Studio MDHR, which, as far as I can tell, is their first game.
Yeah. Two brothers, I think.
Right. Okay. So it's really hard, or that's what people are saying, and that's kind of my personal experience of it. I played about 10 minutes at EGX. And thought, fuck this, and I haven't thought about going back since. But you guys also thought it was hard, but went back and really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
is it that hard?
Liam's finished it.
I mean, it's hard but fair, which is I know our term was thrown around a lot for games like Dark Souls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in Cuphead, I think it's actually true. I never felt cheated in Cuphead. Whenever I died, I could always say, I could have done that better.
Yeah, it was your fault.
Yeah, it's got that quality where it's like you just want to go back and see if you can avoid that mistake. And so yeah, it's not as hard as like some of the press made it out to be. It's definitely
it's really true.
Some
it
people
difficult.
Called Takahashi, for example. Just people with those kind of surnames,
I mean, let's get like Liam's saying, like Crash Bandicoot pissed journalists off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When I was playing it, it pissed me off though, because I was like, I fucking landed that jump.
Yes, yeah.
Stop.
You felt robbed.
Cuphead never feels like that, does it?
No, not at all.
Die a lot more than on Crash Bandicoot, but you always feel like, damn.
Yeah.
But you jump
myself.
You jump straight back into it. I always feel like you jump straight back into it. Like it's got that beautiful thing where my brain is just completely on autopilot. Retry button. I'm straight into it again. I mean,
it's like Hotline Miami style, isn't it? Where loads instantly, just get straight back into the action. No waiting.
Yeah, no suffering. No like basking in your own failure.
Yeah,
you just straight in trying again, and it manages to stay like a little bit more interested in it. It's painful, so like a lot more interesting, really. I mean, you finished a whole game.
I did, yeah.
And if it was that hard, you wouldn't have. You would have been annoyed because you kind of beasted it. I mean, you were done by Sunday and it was out on Friday. So.
Yeah, I did say I was a bit addicted to it. It's got like one more try aspect to it where you just want to keep going back. You want to succeed. You just don't want to give up.
Yeah, it kind of keeps you interested because it's got different styles of gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to ask you next, I guess, because some people have said it's just a flat-out boss rush. Like, is there a bit more to it than that, or is it just a very enjoyable boss rush? Like, what is it?
It's mainly a boss rush with some like platforming stages in between. There's like a palate cleanser type thing to them.
All right. So there's not a boss at the end of every single.
No,
stage.
not some of them do.
Yeah.
Like some of the platforming levels, they do have like sort of a mini boss sort of thing going on, but most of them are just like platform, avoid enemies, get to the end of a stage, collect some coins, you can buy upgrades and shit like that.
That's kind of the main focus of these platform levels. You get the coins, don't you? You can get like up to 5 coins on a level, and you can spend that in this like pork rinds emporium. It's like a shop owned by a giant pig. And you can buy upgrades which will help you in the boss fights. I guess when the game was originally made, they were going to just make it a boss rush game. Yeah. But then they kind of people wanted more from it, and then they added these kind of contra platformy. Yeah. It kind of is like Battletoads. That's how hard I found it anyway.
Right.
But I don't know, actually. Battletoads, you kind of felt robbed. But the platform levels are really useful. You could do the game without them, I think, because to get to the next stage, you need to have the souls of these bosses, but you don't get any souls doing on platform levels. These are just to get you upgrades like extra health, which on the game you got like 3 hit points. You can upgrade it to, I've only upgraded it to 4, But you could technically do the game as a boss rush if you wanted to. You don't have to play the platform levels, which is nice, I guess.
Yeah,
it's optional.
I mean, what's fun about it though? What is it that what compelled you to play it all weekend and just smash it? It's
just really well made. Like, every boss is unique. They have a fun pattern to them.
Yeah.
It's just it's like, can I take on the challenge? It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's just you want to beat the game purely because that's what it's like. I bet you can't do it. And it's just like, well, no, I can do it. And it's that sort of like, you just want to take on the game because it's just like a challenge. It's like people play Dark Souls just to see if they can beat it, sort of thing.
What's really interesting about all this though is that it's just the most cartoony and light and Looney Tunes looking, you know, old school Disney looking thing you've ever seen. It's a beautiful looking game. It looks incredibly like you know, I don't know, like it's stylized, of course. I mean, even everything about it, like the music and the sound design is from what I've experienced, is spot on, like really top notch. Like the music is not only is it great music, it's they've kind of thought, you know, imagine Disney made a game back in the day, like in the 40s or 30s or something, and what kind of music would they have put on it? And that's exactly what they've done. That's the kind of music that they've got there, which is phenomenal. Yeah. And then you marry that with the fact that it's just like this kind of rock hard game. I don't know, it's quite interesting.
I think they were pretty clever because, like, so I think the back end story, I'm like 90% sure this is it. Like, there's two brothers, and they were making this game. They remortgaged their houses, both of them, right? So they could afford this game. And they hand draw every animation in the game.
It looks like that.
It's all handmade. So when you spend that much time on a game, I guess like they needed to make it last, and they've tapped into something that I guess a lot of people forgot about. Me and Liam were just talking about it a little bit earlier. SNES games, right? Because the SNES Classic came out recently. SNES Mini Classic.
Last week.
Yeah. Loads
same
of
day, wasn't it? 29th.
Yeah,
same day, right? Yeah. Loads of those games are actually probably very short if you could just beast it. But the reason that they like, you know, last ages is because you
keep fucking dying.
So they've kind of like the difficulty adds to like the length of the game. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's pretty clever. The whole thing is like, you can tell it's made of passion. Like each boss has different forms. So like, I don't know, there's like
I've heard about this.
This woman in the sky, and her different forms are the different constellations. So she'll have parts where she takes on like the form of like Sagittarius or Gemini and all that. Yeah. So it's like all these little cool things. Even one boss fight seems like 3 or 4 boss fights, and it's not like Dark Souls where you don't have to memorize the patterns. I guess you can it's got a real good way of like, you kind of know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, that really does help. And maybe later on in the game you're going to need to, but early on you can do a boss first try if you know, intuitive enough and stuff like that. It doesn't ever feel cheap. Like that's another thing about it. It's not hard for the sake of being hard. It feels it's as hard as it needs to be. It feels natural. It doesn't feel like they've just gone, right, we're just chucking 2 bad guys here, whereas one would have just done because fuck you. It doesn't feel like that. So it gets a balance really nice and really right. And I kind of left EGX like how we all did, like, oh, this is fucking a bit too hard.
Yeah, but there is a reason for that, isn't there? Because we were playing it co-op. That's one crucial thing that we were all of our experience playing it was co-op. So me and Liam had to go together. Jake, you had to go with Garston, and me and Liam had like this impossible looking level that was so off-putting. I don't know why they put it on the show floor at EGX. Like, you know, that's not going to sell the game to anyone, I don't think. Even you guys who were really enthusiastic about the game, it's not a great first impression. No. It's like this gravity flipping mechanic thing that they have.
It's like a fun house, like fun house thing going on, and you have to like flip like gravity polarity on the platform, so like you get unblockable cars for trying to run you over, so you have to jump to the roof and then jump back down,
or destroy the cars, which because you were playing co-op had, I think, twice as much like hit points.
Co-op doubles the health of every enemy.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
If you think about this is what my problem is. I guess like co-op in Cuphead, I only played it briefly, right? It was just a hindrance because what I mean is when you're playing co-op with your friend, a lot of the time you do your thing and your friend does your other thing. You know, you get the left, I'll get the right. You know what I mean? Yeah. This game, it's like, unless you both focus down the same enemy,
synchronize.
Yeah, you're gonna have to both be like really. You're gonna have to shine, and it'll be like, you know, those twins that are just like, what are they called? Like Siamese twins or something. You're gonna have to be so in tune to play.
Psychic link.
Yeah, exactly. Like co-op is more of a hindrance for this sort of game. I think I enjoyed it single player because I know where I'm at, but you're going to need to rely on you both doing the exact same thing to get the most out of it, I think. So I don't know how well this game is going to work co-op. You're going to have like a proper co-op partner to get the most out of this, I think. Because when me and Gaz played it, we were kind of just doing our own thing, and like we had the same goal, get to the end of the level. So it wasn't like we were both exploring different paths, but it was like impossibly hard. You have to like really focus these shots down on the enemies.
Yeah.
I kind of, even though the whole game is local co-op, by the way, I think you'll enjoy it best single player, which is
a damn shame, because local co-op is awesome, and why is there no more local co-op games?
Do you think that's truly like you felt for the whole game? Do you think I've got a point there, or is it kind of like...
You definitely got a point. Right. Co-op was just too hard when Mike and I had to go.
Yeah.
Single player.
It wasn't my fault.
No, it wasn't.
Right, Liam?
We were both pretty shit at it. Yeah. And it's like, but playing it
I'll take that.
Single player was perfectly fine. I never struggled. I had a good time with it. So I think maybe just the balancing's off in co-op or something.
I think they need to work on it, especially because the one thing about co-op is guilt strikes, right? What I mean is, let's say Mike dies. Mike feels guilty. He's like Liam down, right? Then Mike turns into a ghost and he's floating off the screen. Liam has then got to quickly go and parry on Mike's ghost, or Mike can't get back into the game. Liam's got his own shit going on, like trying not to die. He misses that. Mike doesn't get to come back. Liam feels guilty. They both feel guilty. No one's having fun. That doesn't sound so
like
great.
A game designed in Soviet Russia, isn't
it? You don't come back. That's another thing. When you die, your teammate then has to. If you're not already an inconvenience enough by dying, you then have to get resurrected manually by your friend who's trying to get on with their own shit.
It's pretty hardcore. All this is making me think, though, the co-op is there as once you've beat the game and you want a bit more fun, your mate who has also beat the game by this point, you can both have a crack at some co-op, which is even harder. Do you know what I mean? It's like a New Game Plus or something. I think that's going to be the only thinking that makes any kind of sense to me about it. So overall, then, it's just to round this off. Cuphead, you both, Liam's beer, you really enjoy it, and you've enjoyed pretty much what you've played of it so far. Is it what you were both really excited about this? As far as I can tell, anyway, is it kind of lived up to what you thought it would be?
Definitely for me. I'd heartily recommend it to anyone. Really, if you like a bit of a challenge, you like your old school platformers.
There's some beautiful art.
Yeah, even the art style, just at least go buy it on Steam. If you don't like it, refund it. It's that simple, really. But
that's what's sent to me is the art and the sound, the music and the drawings. It just look incredible, and the whole kind of really creepy. It kind of taps into that really thing, that beautiful thing from, the old school 30s, 40s cartoons where it looks very fun and light, but there's something underneath it that's a bit weird. There's like animals getting skinned and whatever.
They always creep me out, Like 30s creeps me out. Like that vinyl crackle soundtracks and shit. That scares me.
So it's got that sheen, but then and
the devil.
Brilliantly underneath it is thematically there's a devil, but also it's fucking difficult to play. So it's kind of mechanically it's kind of
a couple of corpses killing people so they don't have to go to hell for their gambling addiction.
I mean, do you know what I mean?
It's pretty dark. When you get to it.
I don't know, man. I would recommend it as well. I don't know if we're talking about it in this podcast. There's a video coming out later this week. The only reason I haven't finished Cuphead is because I was playing another game which completely took over my life, which is Total War Warhammer 2. But I am going to go back to Cuphead again and complete it because I really enjoy it. But what I would recommend is if you want a fun local co-op game, just play this by yourself. This is too hard, man. If you're thinking like, maybe you've got a partner who doesn't play games, that's what I'm saying. You need to have like a gaming mate who's just like, who's
already beaten it, maybe. That's the thing, isn't it? Because it's that hard.
Yeah, this isn't a game to play with your kids or your non-gaming friends. Just don't. Save yourself the respect for your fellow man and the pain. Just don't do it.
Jesus. Well, this was a positive impression of Cuphead. But we'll leave it there, I guess. So we'll move on to the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer, official trailer number 2, which arrived arrived last week, and it was a very nice trailer. It was kind of vaguely similar to what we had initially when they revealed it. It wasn't as hugely informative as I was hoping, to be honest. I was hoping for a bit more meat to it, but there was some stuff in it. There was some real information in it. So we'll just run through that quickly. So Red Dead Redemption trailer 2, it had basically some confirmation is 100% a prequel to Red Dead Redemption, so it's definitely going back in time before Red Dead Redemption. The main guy is called Arthur Morgan, and Dutch is going to be in it. So Dutch from the first game is kind of the big bad in the first game.
And that's how the reveal that it was a prequel came about.
There you go, yeah, that's where the prequel info comes through. So Dutch is you know, is he going to be a villainous kind of guy in this one? Yeah, I imagine so, and there's some cool info on the world as well. There's some bigger, badder wildlife, some grizzly bears, alligators, stuff like that, and the world is now a bit more treacherous by the looks of it. There's frosty, snow-covered mountains. There's deep swamps that the characters seem to be wading through the swamps, which was
full of crocodiles.
It was full of crocodiles, yeah. So it's interesting. There's some other little hints in, you know, weapons. There's bow and arrow. Morgan was dual wielding for a little while. There was hints at maybe heists, because there was some guy stopping a train, so there's a train kind of run down the line, and there's a gang of cowboys outside, and they just kind of hold it up, I guess. And then there's another bank robbery looking scene where he's just walking through a load of bank vaults that are blowing open. So there's that obvious hint. I mean, they'd be stupid not to include heists, I guess, because it fits perfectly.
What's a Western without a heist, right?
Exactly.
GTA Online had heists.
Of course,
why not just put them in Red Dead as well?
GTA 5 was the whole thing was built around the heist story, and it works perfectly in a Western, so that's pretty exciting. And it's coming to PS4 and Xbox One in spring 2018, so that's, like, I guess, confirming what everyone pretty much expected, I suppose.
Yeah.
What did you guys have, like, any main takeaway from the trailer? Anything that really caught your eye? Anything that you enjoyed? Anything that really caught your interest?
It immediately struck me that you'll probably be more of a villain this time around, whereas, you know, in the first one, John Marston was trying to, like, make his life better. He was trying to escape his, like, outlaw past, whereas in this one it looks like you're going full down the outlaw cowboy, like, bit of a dickhead guy as well at the times in the trailer.
What's that cold thing he says? Something like, I'm going to keep your mother in black
on your behalf.
On your behalf, implying I'm going to kill you and your mother's not. You're going to have to take a funeral dress off.
For
those that.
And this is the guy you're playing as.
Cowboy talk.
This is the main character of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's kind of got what's the name of John Bernthal or whatever? Shane off of Walking Dead. He's kind of got that essence about him of a guy who is a bit kind of thuggish, I guess, and kind of he's like abrasive but so this is kind of one of the main conversations we can have about this trailer, I think, because it's the first reveal of the protagonist, really.
Yes.
And they just can't do John Marston Mark II, can they?
No.
Well, yeah, I think they were quite clever, because if they tried to do the same even style, like anti-hero kind of trying to go straight, then it would be big boots to fill.
It's just going to be not as good, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So they think if we just go in a different lane, we don't have to compete with John Marston. I mean, it's
tell a different story as well.
Yeah, John Marston's one of the most, like, beloved, like, protagonists or whatever of a game. Like, you know, Geralt, Joel, and like
any kind of angry man with a beard is
John Marston was kind of before the ones I just mentioned then, but like the gruff Clint Eastwood type, you know. I think the name of the game, Red Dead Redemption, we're seeing a lot of Arthur Morgan being like a bad guy. Maybe he's gonna try and redeem himself.
There'll be some redemption in the story.
You got a bit of a theory about this, Liam?
So I've got my theory is, because it's a prequel to Red Dead Redemption, the end of this trailer shows a young version of Dutch, who is the villain from the first game. So my theory is Arthur Morgan, who you play as, be a complete dick for like the first half of the game. Second half of the game will probably introduce like a young John Marston and Annabelle, was that his wife?
Oh god, I can't remember.
Like when she was part of the gang as well.
Yeah.
And they fell in love and they left the gang. So I reckon the redemption in the game's title will be Arthur Morgan helping John Marston and his wife escape from the Dutch Vandalen gang.
Thus redeeming himself in some way.
And he'll probably die at the end of it, let's be honest.
Well, he's not around.
He's betrayed. If my theory's true, he'll betrayed the gang and they'll take out their revenge on him.
There's a woman in the trailer, so maybe that is John's wife,
maybe,
and John joins the gang. I mean, I think in terms of like the story of Red Dead Redemption, after John left Dutch's gang, Dutch made like a new gang with like loads of Native Americans, didn't he? Like like Dutch as savages or whatever they were called. There are some Native Americans in that, so I don't know if the storyline will take you all the way up to Dutch's new gang maybe, and maybe you'll be loyal to Dutch the whole time and be trying to hunt down Marston and things like that. If it's not a redemption story, there's got to be John Marston in there somewhere, or like a hint of him, just a little seasoning.
So, Liam, this is another hot Liam theory that you think it'll end on the John, this is John Marston.
The game would probably like maybe, I don't know, Arthur Morgan, who you players, maybe he dies. Dutch needs a new gang member to replace him, so introduces the gang to like a young John Marston, then just like smash cut to black. That's it could end like that.
Smash cut. So that it could be that, and I think that's a very interesting theory. He could be kind of introduced early on in near the end of the game. You know what I mean? So in the kind of final act when it's all heating up. But it could also be like a Marvel post-credits thing, which they kind of did with Jack Marston. Spoilers in the original Red Dead Redemption. So his name was Jack, wasn't it? Said that very confidently then, and I don't know where it came from. I just had that stored in there. So you kind of play on after you've finished the game, and there's a bit more story. It might be something like that. You know what I mean? It is terrific.
I love that.
Absolutely excellent. So it could be something like that. It could be like, you finish the story, and then the whole John Marston thing is like a Marvel post-credits scene, in Rockstar form. I mean, it's really interesting. I think that their marketing for this is, pretty standard for Rockstar, but it just works really well. Where they just kind of they just give you like a color, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, that's the Red Dead Redemption color!" And then it's like, "Oh, there's a new Red Dead Redemption coming out a few days later," and then they just go silent for ages. And then there's another trailer, this time with an updated release date and a bit more info. I'm hopeful we'll see more like Life in the West trailers like we had before Red Dead Redemption, and they did the similar thing for GTA, like what you'll do in the world of like Los Angeles.
Did it for LA Noire as well.
Yeah, of course. So it works really well too.
That's clever marketing, isn't it? We're leading up to it. The hype is going to be so real. I mean, Red Dead's got like a different type of fan than GTA, hasn't it? GTA is like the Lamborghini driving sort of lifestyle sim. But on this, loads of people want cowboys, and I guess that there's like they've timed it quite right, because I think Westworld's back out on telly. The huge because like Westworld's like about like the virtual reality cowboy thing, and I was just watching that thinking like, oh man, I can't wait for that new Red Dead. Cowboy hype around spring next year is going to be maximum.
They're coming back.
I feel like this will be a fucking boost to Westworld more than anything, though. This is like it'll happen vice versa. I reckon it'll be Red Dead Redemption's helping Westworld viewership figures out more than anything.
Speaking of, this is such a bad segue. Speaking of the world, I am sorry. Honestly, I was looking at like, because GTA fans and Rockstar fans are all super sleuths and that. They
that's well known.
Well, they guessed it was going to be a prequel, didn't they? But Dutch's gang, they did figure that out like 6 months ago, and they were right. The next big thing that they've been doing, they've been trying to map out Red Dead just from that trailer.
That's it,
They've been looking at the camera angles, and they've got quite. It looks, logic, like they've drawn like squares around this mountain, the scene again here, and they've kind of figured out the map, and it again, it's quite believable. It's a lot of hype from a trailer.
I know this is the power that they command. This is what I'm talking about with the marketing. Like they don't have to give out too much. They just give out like breadcrumbs, and then we're just like gobbling up all the breadcrumbs. It's quite ingenious. I think he kind of mentions Morgan mentions like 3 states. They've been chasing some 3, and then he gets a bit specific about like out west and the north and whatever. So he kind of is a bit of a hint there that there's going to be different climes and different like states. So in the first one, you did have like
you had like Mexico,
very distinct areas,
northern snowy area. And you had like the old western frontier.
Yeah. So you had very. They had their own character. They had their own kind of, even though they were very, very close to each other, they kind of had their own distinct climates and whatever. So, what are your kind of big hopes for it? What's like the main thing now that you're hoping for Red Dead Redemption? I mean, it could be anything, like release date, like anything you want. What do you want to see next from Rockstar about Red Dead Redemption?
I just want story, flesh out the story. I'm hope GTA Online's been a massive thing for Rockstar. I hope they just don't go all in on that for Red Dead. I don't want like Red Dead Online, where you can buy like stacks of doubloons or something instead of shark cards.
Bonds.
That was going to be my answer, so
just focus.
I have to change my answer.
That's going to be my answer exactly.
I just want a solid story, a good fleshed out single player
gold
adventure.
fucking bullion or whatever.
That's exactly it. I was going to say the same thing. Focus on single player. Think about that post-credit scene from the first one, man. That's like, and like we were saying earlier, like even Gaz, who's obviously not here, he was saying like, you know, John Marston, though, he's like the best.
Yeah, so his favourite protagonist.
Exactly, and I mean, that wouldn't happen if it was like, you know, John Marston Online, you know.
Yeah.
Focus on, like, get that realised, actualised, fleshed out, beautiful world. I love the hunting missions.
100% will.
I love that hunting style. I like that, you know, I want to maybe, you know, give me that stuff that I can do that'll make me feel like...
A cowboy.
Yeah, give me that ranch sim. Give me that. I want to just do hunting. I like that. Remember that old game Gun?
Yeah.
For the Xbox?
Remember that old game Gun? Yes, I do.
The hunting missions on that were boss. I loved it, you know. And Gun was really...
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Great game.
Yeah.
Love to the Gun. Like, Red Dead Redemption isn't on PC, but Gun is. Gun is.
Gun was
awesome. Better than nothing.
It takes a bit of fiddling to get working, though. It's quite an old game.
The config master over here, innit? Get that INI file open or whatever. No, but seriously, like, I love the hunting element of Gun. I want to see more of that in Red Dead. I don't know why I like it so much. Stalking my prey and all that. I love it in Red Dead. I don't know what it is.
Let's quote there.
on that predatory note, it's.
I've done this twice. How have I? I'm sorry, guys. This is dark as hell.
All right, I'll wind up with this one last thing.
What do you want? What do you want to see?
Yeah, I want to like the world and the protagonist as much as I like John Marston and the world of Red Dead Redemption, and that's no easy task. It's
I've realised. No, I want to not like him. I want to hate him.
Well,
go on.
So, and it's not an easy feat to do that, right? So you can make me feel really attached to the world, and Rockstar can do interesting things with characters, and they always do, but they always make them sympathetic, right? So you always care about them.
This is it, yeah.
So this is, I think, if they can do something really, really interesting with this guy, and having you play as him. Like in GTA 5, they had you playing as 3 people, like one of which was an absolute lunatic who was quite easy to hate, but you know, the other 2 were very sympathetic. Like you know, there were still things about them that you liked. Yeah. So they can do something really interesting with this, something brave, and I'm hoping they will. I'm hoping they do go down the route of making him an arsehole, that maybe if they have to have that Hollywood spin on it, that he is kind of, you know, a bit you know, redeems himself in some way, in some small way at the end.
Yeah.
But even then, leave it ambiguous. Like all the best things are ambiguous.
I just realised that's what I want to not like him. I want it to be like Walter White sort of syndrome, like where
well, exactly.
As the game's going on, you're like, oh, I don't like this, or you know, like, don't make him Trevor. Don't make him like a kooky maniac that people think, oh, he's so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Just make him like lovable, and maybe don't even give him a redemption story. Give someone else a redemption story. That'll be an interesting thing, and that's something that Rockstar are known for doing, though. Try that. Don't make this, because that's the thing. Go opposite of John Marston. You're not going to get a story better than that. So do the opposite. Make a character that you just end up hating by the end of it. That's like some Spec Ops Alliance shit, you know. I think that's what I want. I don't make it like some forgettable, like, I don't know, man. Do something different. Make me hate him at the end. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want to hate him.
All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next exciting topic: video game CEOs and who they are. Now, this is some games industry biz, some shite, but it's important. I thought it was really interesting because Andrew House, who is the CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment and happens to be Welsh, it's a little fun fact for you there. He's been in charge of Sony since 2011 when he replaced Kaz Hirai. But he's been with Sony for like 20 years. His whole kind of executive career, he's been with Sony. So he led the conference to announce PS4 in 2013. So of course he's the head of the company. He's got some big roles, and he's kind of a household name a little bit. Oh, his name's House. A little bit in gaming, but not like to the degree of you know, Peter Molyneux or whatever. He's just the boss of Sony, so you might have seen or heard from him a little bit. Yeah. So he's stepping down. He's being replaced immediately by a guy called John Codera, who's been with Sony again for a very long time, but he's going to stay on as chairman. All this is incredibly boring, I realise that, but the point is, This guy is who is he? Like he's so important to the games that you play, to the price that you pay for your console, to how, the hardware that's in the console, to how well it performs, like all that sort of stuff, all that day-to-day stuff that you don't really think about. He's crucial to all that. He's the guy who signs off on big decisions. He's the guy who kind of leads the way. So on leaving the role, which is he's still kind of like I said, he's staying on as chairman, so he's still going to be there, but he's basically leaving. He says, PlayStation has been a huge part of my life for more than 20 years, but with the business having achieved record-breaking success, now seems to be the right time for me to pursue new challenges. So he's kind of taken a little, just indirectly taken a little bit of credit for the record-breaking success that Sony has kind of seen with PlayStation, and he's leaving now. So, but he kind of obviously feels like I've helped this. My
work here is done.
Exactly. So what does a CEO of a video game company actually do, right? Well, it's just business, all the business responsibilities. So it's like accounting, finances, marketing, sales, contracts, legal matters, human resources, everything that happens in a corporation. They are like at the head of that pyramid, and they're like signing things off. They are communicating their big ideas and big kind of policies and stuff to other companies and to the public in things like the press conferences when they announce PS4. He's the guy who kind of is supposed to be in charge of all that, right? Do you think that CEOs are a little bit too hidden in the video games? I think for the video game industry is probably the most prominent and most public you'll see CEOs, because they regularly have to make statements about stuff and they regularly come out. But do you think that it would be better if we could see and hear a bit more of them?
I don't know, like Phil Spencer.
Exactly, this is the big example I've got, because he's done a great job. Phil Spencer is kind of the Xbox head.
He's
so
like
he's not
the face of Xbox, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because to me, like Nintendo, when you think like the face of Nintendo, like over here, it's like
Mario.
It's Reggie though, isn't it? He's not the CEO, though, is he?
Yeah.
And for me, when I think about PlayStation, the guy who gets all the and I don't know if this is just Sony in general, but it's like Shohei Yoshida, you know that guy? Shohei Yoshida. I didn't even know who this guy was until we talked about him today. And it's like, this is my job to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess you're right. I mean, I didn't know who he was. And I don't even have an Xbox, but Phil Spencer has got such a presence. Like, you know who he is, you know what he does, you know what he says. He's there, he's on the front line. And as far as I know, Xbox has been doing all right under him, to be fair. Like, a lot of the things that he's been thrown in the midst of, he's kind of clawing their way out of it, and I know this is like Xbox is probably like their worst period in terms of like exclusives and stuff like that, and obviously they're on the back foot compared to PlayStation, but Phil Spencer seems to be leading the charge, and if they're not, I perceive that from an unbiased point of view, from a non-Xbox fanboy point of view, and that's just because I hear him talk, and he's going to be really good at that. So what I'm saying is that's the importance there. It kind of rallies people's opinions, and I believe Phil Spencer is a pretty good leader from my perceptions anyway. And that's because he's transparent, he's visible, and he's present. This guy, Andrew House, I mean, all right, bye. All I know is that you fucking, I don't know why I'm addressing him directly, but he, guys, is the guy that took away handheld over here in the West. Like, he didn't want the Vita around, didn't want the PSP.
Future for it.
Yeah, he cut it down, which I'm sure he's kicking himself for now, because like the Switch.
Switch, yeah, of course.
And obviously like Liam, you know, who like loves the PSP and the Vita. Like, so this guy's like kind of like, I don't want to say a sworn nemesis. He's a minor inconvenience.
You always do this. I don't want to say he's your sworn nemesis, but here it comes.
At the same time though, he did get Kojima and they're giving him like whatever the hell he wants to with Death Stranding. That was Andrew House. He got him on board.
Okay, yeah.
So he has redeemed himself in my eyes.
Red Dead Redemption 3, Andrew House. House always wins.
Yeah, the most fucking boring Western you've ever played.
Gaming CEOs, though, I mean, Nintendo are pretty good about it. They had Satoru Iwata.
That's right.
And he was very out in front. He was always on Nintendo Direct, and sadly passed away, but his successor, can't remember his name, but he's the same. He's always at the front. He's the guy, you know, who always does that weird clicking thing in the Nintendo Switch presentation.
I guess the reason you can't remember his name is because it's Japanese. I know it's harder to remember Japanese names.
I just don't know.
If his name was something like Phil Spencer, you'd probably remember it.
It's easy to remember
because it's
like Iwata before. Like, he used to do like entire YouTube series called Iwata Asks, where he
right,
go and interview like game developers, and I ask them, what can Nintendo do to help them make their vision a reality?
This is kind of what I think is because they do a good job. Like on the set, most of them do a pretty good job, right?
Yeah.
But it still seems like when they come out and say something like people aren't really aware of what the significance of. It's like a football manager's significance on how the team performs. Like, you know, you got your favourite players and whatever, and you know, but like the manager gets sacked if it goes shit. The manager is heavily responsible for how good that football team performs. Yeah. But everyone knows about the football managers, and that's all part of the football like soap opera thing. Is like, you know, you're always checking in on how sorry,
it's all right, don't worry about it.
All football fans, but do you know what I mean? Though it's like the manager is a key figure in that debate and the discussion. Whereas I don't think the same is true for CEOs. I think they're just kind of a little bit more absent in people's awareness, even though they do a good job. Yeah. Some of them do a very good job.
You see them quite a lot at E3 as well. They always set stage to introduce everything.
Do you know what? I've just got on the map, but now Andrew Wilson, the guy who looks a little bit like Robbie Rotten from Lazy Town, he's the EA CEO.
Yeah, I was going to.
He was leading the sort of charge with EA's E3 conference. He was on stage there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who else did we have?
Igamo from Ubisoft?
Igamo, yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. When you do it well, a CEO's kind of like, it sounds stupid, I guess, but when I was talking about Phil Spencer, and I was thinking, it's like a mascot, isn't it?
Yeah, he's almost like Larry Herb from Xbox, because he's that public and he's that like prominent, and he's always tweeting about stuff and whatever, you know what I mean?
He's a place that people go for information, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Whereas when people find out information about Sony, it's not from Andrew House's Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, I mean, a CEO being present, if anything, it's just to like, it's just for that morale, isn't it? For the staff and things like that. You got that leader that, you know, does and they're always great at talking, obviously, because they're mostly sociopaths.
They're executives.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they're good. Like EA, I was at the E3 conference, and you know, he's very good at talking.
So I'm going to throw some other names at you now. They aren't CEOs.
Is this like a quiz?
No. Well, all right. Yeah, let's quiz. This is a very, very short quiz with one question. But Diane Nelson and David Haddad. Warner Brothers, right? Warner Brothers, okay? So Warner Brothers is one of the most...
They're not the brothers, though, right?
No. Well, one of them is called Diane, so no. Warner Brothers, you know, they've annoyed a lot of people with Shadow of War, and that's not the first time they've annoyed a lot of people. They have been, they've been sneakily one of the worst companies, but people don't jump to people's minds.
They are, secret bastards.
They are secret bastards, which is a reference. Let's not explain the references. Secret Bastard.
If you can remember Secret Bastard from a couple of podcasts ago or a couple of videos ago, that's a funny one.
Yeah. So they're secret bastards, right? Warner Brothers, but no one knows who Diane Nelson or David Haddad is. No one knows what their roles are. They're not technically CEOs. They're presidents. They don't have a CEO because Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment is obviously like an offshoot it's a division of Warner Brothers, which is, you know, everything, films and whatever. But no one knows who they are. So it's
did you know then? Because exactly. Liam writes our scripts, right? And you write about Warner Bros. A lot. Because I was going to say I don't know, but Liam's job writes a lot.
Because it's always Warner Brothers said in a statement, or Warner Brothers.
So they're disconnected.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like when they're being that shitty, why would they go out in the spotlight and
say it was me?
Well,
it's one of them, innit? Why are they going to say I made it? They'll be like, the company decided.
Yeah, so, and they kind of keep themselves at arm's length. Whereas Phil Spencer has got nothing but good news recently, because they're correcting mistakes that they've made, and Phil Spencer can just go, great news, everyone, games. And it's like 40 titles.
I mean, here's a Porsche.
Except the whole thing.
So it's an interesting one.
Phil Spencer.
So I
got any more for us on the quiz?
No, that's
that would have been a good segment, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's a bit like The Apprentice now.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good idea. Should we like pause the podcast and do some research?
Welcome back.
I don't know, Liam. What do you think about this? Do you think this is like? Do you think they're people like Diane Nelson and David Haddad? Do you think they've got like a responsibility to come forward and like, this is who we are, and it's our fault there's microtransactions in your games?
I mean, you can see it with any time something goes wrong. If you look at like a press statement, if something goes, like say Phil Spencer he's like games, Xbox One X, most powerful console ever made. Every statement you saw online was like, Phil Spencer unveiled today. But then with the whole thing that's going on with Forza right now, where they're getting shit for the microtransaction model, it's like Microsoft said.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
right.
disconnecting the person
That's right.
from the. It's just like corporate speak, isn't it?
Absolutely
and
right.
Warner Bros are so shitty that I don't.
So
I don't think
shitty.
they can say like Diane Nelson admits the company was wrong. It'll be like Warner Brothers admits the company did wrong.
Yeah.
They don't want to take, because that's like sort of like launching a personal target, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Saying like, if you want to tweet some shit, here's who you tweet.
Here's your target.
Exactly.
I think the social media use is pretty crucial to it, because if you become a figure on Twitter or something that people attach to and follow, they just enter like the pop culture like awareness, don't they? Like people realize like
I was saying earlier, people follow Phil Spencer for Xbox News. People won't follow Andrew House for PlayStation News, right?
No. Like the only people who'd follow Andrew House are like games journalists and like people who are very, very interested in the industry, like
more like the spreadsheet side of it than the play games
exactly. So I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting topic that these people are so fundamentally important to the games that we play, the price that we spend on game that we pay for games, the money, the models and the things that we complain about all the time, like microtransactions, season passes, fucking DRM, Danuvo, all that sort of stuff. And they are huge. They have huge roles in that, and we never really think about them unless we're reading out statements that they've said, or silly things that they might have admitted or something like that, which is just a very rare occurrence, really. So it's just an interesting topic. Think about video game CEOs, is all I'm saying.
Before we leave that, then, I think it will be hypocritical if we don't do it. The new CEO, let's talk about who the fuck he is real quick.
Kodera,
John Kodera,
the Sony guy.
Here's what you need to know about him. He's been in the company for 20 years. He likes indie games. Everyone loves him.
Thought you were going to leave that on me then. I was like, well, I'm fucking I'm prepared for this.
If I remember reading, he's like, so he was the head of like their network division. So he was in charge of like making sure PSN was up and running and shit.
Yeah,
like
so he's had a pretty significant
PSN was up and running, no one was getting hacked.
Yeah.
If he's a CEO now, maybe he'll put all the resources into making sure PSN's better. Maybe they didn't give him the necessary resources.
Do you know what, Liam? That's fucking spot on, and that's all we can ask for PlayStation right now. They've got the games. Let's get that network looking better. More indies. Maybe we'll get another handheld with this guy in charge. He seems to be quite hot on the idea of that. So
I mean, that's exactly it. That's a huge change that could happen based on a different CEO. There could be a Sony handheld now. Andrew House very recently, I think it was Andrew House that said that they're not interested in a Switch because they are focused very dryly. We read out the quote on a Sunday roundup, like he's very focused on the
console market or whatever it was.
It was like the big screen experience or something is what he said. So he's not a fan of it, but maybe this guy is. So then suddenly there could be a Sony handheld just because the CEO's different. That is how significant these people are, and it might seem like an obvious thing to say, but it's something that we aren't really attuned to, I think, culturally.
It's something it should be obvious, but actually isn't. And kind of like, like I'm saying, we didn't know who the CEO of Warner Bros is, and they're a pretty big. I think, but we do know Andrew Wilson and Egamo because they are present. So cool.
It's like the big thing to think about is Andrew House steps down as Sony CEO. You might see the headline, not click on it, and go, oh. And that's it, so he's gone. But what that might mean for you is enormous. That might mean that you're getting a handheld.
Liam gets another handheld console.
Liam gets another handheld. I mean, just think about that, is all I'm saying. So CEOs exist, and please someone think of the CEOs. So,
I think it's just something of Liam's handheld console.
Time for the 30 seconds throwdown.
Oh, okay. What are we doing?
Liam's doing this one.
Liam's got one!
I'm here. Mike's idea, funnily enough, this one was.
Well, it's because it's a very impassioned conversation that we had about it.
It has nothing to do with gaming at all.
This is a nice surprise. I didn't know.
It's a bit of setup. This is the 30 second throwdown. And a bit of setup for this one. We are based in the city of St Asaph, and this story takes place in and around the area of the city of St Asaph.
This is ace. Okay. This is new to me.
Okay.
I'm like a fan right
strap in.
All right. So, and the 30 second throwdown is called Life in the Big City. Liam, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So on my morning commute to work every morning, it's like a 5-10 minute drive at most. But there's a farmer who at 9:15 every morning crosses his dairy cows across the road. It adds It adds an extra 10 to 20 minutes onto my morning commute, and it's completely unnecessary. Why can't he do it at 7 in the morning? Why can't he do it at 10 in the morning? He always does it. He always does it whenever I'm trying to get to work. It's too much. Is this 30 seconds?
That's 30 seconds.
All right,
so
I'm done.
30 second throwdown. So
move your cows at a different time, please.
Listen, Farmer Jones, if you're watching this podcast.
Life in the big city. I'm killing myself after this podcast.
No, that's not a joke.
My life has peaked here.
It's not a joke. We're in the city of St Asaph.
That's
a true story.
Who is going to relate?
Gaz does. We take the same route to work. Gaz knows the pain of the dairy farmer.
This is the best thing that's ever happened on this podcast.
That's the best 30 seconds.
30-something episodes.
All right. So, now that we've gathered ourselves after that,
okay,
glory. Let's move on to fact of the week. So, jingle. You just interrupted the jingle. So, jingle. Okay. Fact of the week. Despite playing Nate's older brother, Troy Baker Sam in the Uncharted 4 game is 6 years younger than Nolan North in real life. So let's move on to the comments. First up is Rudy Manchego, who we actually, me and Liam met at EGX, which was awesome. It was really cool to meet you. One of a few fans that we few viewers that we bumped into there, and had a good chat with.
You changed fans to viewers so effortlessly there. A few viewers, like you didn't want to see it. That was funny. With
Mr. Manchego, we spoke to him.
Oh, yeah.
It was cool, and his
Very
friend
cool
as well.
Guy.
And he's left a pretty long comment. Hey chaps, thanks very much for the shout out. It was great to meet Mike and Liam at EGX. Sorry we didn't get to say hi to Gaz and Jake. So he's really enjoyed the EGX coverage, which thanks man. A few people have been pretty positive about the EGX coverage. It is very different, like to what we normally do. Obviously, and we did our best, I guess. It's kind of I think we got a lot of stuff done when we were there, which is I'm really pleased about. Right, he also played The Occupation, which is a tip that when I was speaking to him about The Occupation, which is a great game. We did an interview on that, which is on the channel if you want to watch that. So his question is, after EGX and your first foray into gaming conventions, are you guys thinking about attending more in future? For example, EGX Rezzed in the spring. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, personally.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, Rezzed would be a good one.
Obviously, Gaz was like, the final decision. He loved it, didn't he? He was like, because he was happy with how we were received there by people coming up to us, talking to us, how much fun it was, as simple as that. And we got some content out of it. I mean, sure, it's maybe not the content that people are expecting from us because it's like a completely different format, and it's interviews about games that most people don't know about or whatever. But it was nice to be in. It was an eye opener. That's what Gaz has been saying anyway. So in terms of other ones, I mean, definitely want to try Gamescom next year, surely. Yeah, if we can get flown out to. If anyone is interested in sponsoring flights out to Germany, then please get in touch. But that would be awesome. Gamescom. I mean, EGX Res, I'm sure. They'll pop us. To be brutally honest, I have no interest in going to E3. I mean, I wouldn't mind going there and not working for one day to see what it is and what it's like, and then getting the hell out of there. Wouldn't you? I've heard more complaints than good things about E3, which is not the same as Gamescom. People say Gamescom is terrific, and it's really well held. There, which is like a huge thing because the queues are one thing no one talks about when I turn up gaming convention. Of course, I've not heard anyone ever complaining about queues, but they're real. They're there. But as for the suggestion from Rudy, EGX Rezzed would be awesome. I think that would be a doable one and a cool one. That's down in London. Whether or not we need a full team there for 4 days, I don't know, but it would be something that we could do for a day or something and just see. We were invited to this year, but we were like, I don't know, we had about 30,000, no, not 30, but we had about 50,000 subscribers, I think, at the time we were invited. Right. And we were like working out flat out and stuff, so it's completely different now. So probably next year, we'll go. And Res, there were a few games at Res this year that weren't at EGX, so like Divinity Original Sin 2 was at Res. They were talking about it and everything, it was mad. So that would be definitely one that we'd have an eye on at the very least. So thanks, man, and it was great to meet you. Kevin O'Riordan says, would love to know your thoughts on Cuphead and or the Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer. Well, I hope this podcast answered those questions for you, but thanks for your question, Kevin. Simply Phil says, it was a real pleasure to meet your
all, guys, and it was great to get some insight into all the hard work that goes in behind the scenes to ensure the amazing content you put out on a daily basis. So again, Phil was the winner of our competition to get tickets down to EGX, and we hung out with Phil for a few days, and it was awesome. It was really cool, great to meet him, and he helped out a lot. Like, he was like part of the team for a couple of days.
Yeah, man.
Did some camera work.
Yeah, it was great.
Part of the team, wasn't it?
100%, yeah, and yeah, so it was great to meet you, Phil, as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Right, what was it? Marmite rules.
Yeah,
that's the end of the comment. Simply, Phil.
Gonna have to disagree there, I'm afraid.
Well, this is like split the office in half, as is the marketing line for Marmite. So there's no surprise there.
Yeah, right now, it's a even.
It's split. A very clean split down the middle, isn't it? In the office. So there you go. Marmite rules. Or no, it doesn't, depending on whether or not you like Marmite. Stephen Hughes, good work with EGX, dude. Sorry to see you've been stricken with conflu. Question for next week. What, if any, are some old game mechanics you would like to see make a comeback, such as text parsers in games like Starship Titanic? Old game mechanics you would like to see make a comeback. I think indie games cover this really well at the moment. Like, really old mechanics and old game styles are... I mean, they're everywhere, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. Sorry,
you guys
coughing, guys?
This probably isn't a popular one that many people would want. Give me my tanky survival horror games back.
This is from Dino Crisis conversation.
It is from Dino Crisis. Like, you know, it controlled like shit. I know that with the D-pad and you tank controls and everything like that. But that's kind of what gave it the tension and horror in the first place. You had to like struggle with the controls because you've got this like zombie or whatever coming at you and you're like, oh shit, what do I do? You're trying to turn around and run away. It's probably not a popular opinion, but it'd be cool to see a game.
Stylistic choice. I mean, I wonder if that new fear effect's going to keep it in, because the old one had that in as well. So
exactly, yeah.
You know.
So I'd like to see maybe someone take a crack at that, I guess.
I like the mechanic in Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Yeah.
They can go back, but like you're saying, indie games have covered that. Like, I guess people might even consider this an old game now, but Braid's got the back in time mechanic. But I think that's a really cool mechanic. I don't know why more people haven't played on that. Like, you know, like Assassin's Creed having like a back in time. Just make it unmaking Prince of Persia, isn't it?
It's in a lot of racing games where you do.
Yeah, it's weird.
You crash, you can do like a quick 10-second rewind.
Yeah,
try and avoid it.
Okay,
it's cool. Weird. I think that would only work in games where failure can happen regularly and quickly. So like platforming or like a racing game, I guess you crash and you want to undo that. Like
Prince of Persia just had it nailed, didn't they? Like, actually, platforming something will crumble, go back in time. You know, I like that. I think that's a mechanic that really sorely missed.
I don't know what mine would be. I think just like light gun games, I suppose. Just like more, just guns. Just more. No, but just like plastic
Give
ones.
us a new Time Crisis.
Exactly. Yes, and Point Blank or whatever. Just like silly light gun games.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, like bring like the House of the Dead sort of stuff to the
bring it back to the home console.
Something like that, I guess. So thanks for the question, dude. Dom Garforth says that was a pretty good podcast, guys. Hilarious chat with South Park and enlightened me on a few games I'd have not looked into. So cheers. I'm really excited for games coming in 2018, such as Red Dead and Death Stranding. Is that 2018?
Good luck.
That'd be awesome if it was. He says if all goes well with that. So are there any games that you're eager to play coming in the next year? Thanks. Any games? Yes, there are many.
Shitloads.
EGX kind of added a lot to my list. I think there's tons of stuff. Red Dead is like absolute tip top of the list, but still this year I'm looking forward to South Park.
Out in a couple of weeks. Wolfenstein.
Yeah, Wolfenstein. Yeah. This is a great month. October is a great month.
Yeah. Evil Within 2's out in like 2 weeks.
Mario Odyssey.
Also got Shadow of War if you're willing to look past the microtransactions.
Just this month.
So it's a very busy month, and that's there's 2 more months left of 2017. So that's even before we get into next year.
Next year, it starts off strong as hell.
Same as last year.
Monster Hunter,
Ni no Kuni 2, God of War. I mean, I'm really excited about all 3 of them. God of War is my top pick, and then you've got what have you got then? Far Cry 5. I mean, after EGX, I kind of wasn't that hype about that. But you've got the Shadow of the Colossus remake. Have I just said that? Shadow of the Colossus?
Nope.
No.
That's just because I was like Sony heavy, I guess. Because to be fair, there's a lot of...
There's tons,
loads of good PC games have just come out. So PlayStation have got a lot. Like The Last of Us 2 might be out next year, maybe. Red Dead, PlayStation again. So it's really... My PlayStation's going to be getting... a lot of
getting
usage.
caned.
Yeah, man. I mean, God, there's loads of good games. I mean, Ni no Kuni's out on the PC for people that want to play that. But yeah, just the first quarter of next year alone is like enough Game of the Year contenders there for the next 5 years. Man, there's loads of shit.
What about you, Liam?
It's same as Jake, you know, like
same here,
Monster Hunter, Ni no Kuni, God of War. What else is it? I mean, what else is there?
There's tons of stuff. I mean,
so much.
Red Dead is the top of the list for me, but Monster Hunter is like a close second. I'm looking forward to the co-op experience that we can have for that. Like, I feel like there's a lot of potential there based on what we saw at EGX and playing a lot of Destiny at the moment. I feel like having that kind of loot grindy co-op experience, taking down some big bosses in a Monster Hunter setting is awesome. God, giant weapons and whatnot. Yeah, cool. There's a lot of great games basically that we're excited for. I think as far as smaller games go, I think I've made it well clear that I'm looking forward to the Occupation. There was a lot of smaller games on show at EGX actually that were like pretty cool, like the Bushido. When's that out?
Yeah, Black and White Bushido. I don't know when that's out, but it was really fun.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was a very nice kind of I don't know what it's not really a brawler because it's like one hitting you down, but it's like a combat 2D multiplayer combat game where you play as like samurai, I guess, variations of Japanese warriors, and then you kind of you can camouflage into the light if you're a white character, or you can camouflage into the dark if you're kind of and they're all like, it's all like completely, what do you call that when it's just monochromatic? Is that what it is?
Monochrome, yeah.
Yeah. Colours, right? So it's just two colours, but it just looks beautiful.
There's obviously what's the game with the bikers and the zombies that guys wanted?
Oh, Days Gone.
It's out next year.
Days Gone, yeah.
I'm just looking here. Anthem next year.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool. Sea of Thieves we didn't get to play, but I mean,
I still want to play that. I really don't know what to think of it, because some people are coming out of it saying, some people are very, very excited about it and coming out of it pretty warm and saying, yeah, it's a lot of fun, but other people are saying it's a bit lackluster, so I don't know.
Hey, there's also Detroit Become Human, another PlayStation game, and Vampire, which is supposed to be out this month, but it's been delayed. Vampire's out like early next year as well. That's the Life is Strange devs. So that looks good, and there's Skull and Bones out next year. Wasn't it
yes,
next year? So
I'm looking forward to that.
God, this year's been good for games. This year's been the best year for games for ages. Loads of people keep saying to me, "Oh, there's not many good games out," and I'm like thinking, stop playing Overwatch, then, isn't it? Just play some actual single-player games.
Stop playing Overwatch. Stop playing CS:GO. Stop playing
Battlegrounds. Early access games, and then complain there's no games. Buy games that are actually completed. This year's been great for games. Next year could be even better. I mean, damn man, we are being spoiled. So
I'm really racking my brain for my favourite game for this year, because I do not know, because there's about 5 or 6 that I could choose, and
I've got 2 in the chamber right now. So and they're both on PC, which I don't think I'd say. So
you know what? I've got like 3. I think I've got 3 that are properly like that one, but there's more than that. There's about 5 or 6 that I think could potentially be game of the year.
I can't wait for the end of the year so we can do like a
it's going to be difficult, man.
It'll be a really good one. I'm excited for the podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be so much to get through.
Podcast number 1, when we did that, the first thing I thought was like, okay, I can't wait for the end of the year podcast. We're nearly there now, so I'm really looking forward to that. So that answers your question. God, we like that question, obviously.
Yeah. That was a great question. So, Alex Morrison, great podcast, guys. 30-second throwdown was spot on. Where we were chatting in the Discord channel about pre-orders. A couple of us will break our no pre-order stance for certain games. For me, it's a physical version of any other Zelda game on the Switch, as that could sell out. Do you guys have any games you would pre-order?
This is a good question, actually, because I think a lot of people are against the idea of pre-ordering, and a lot of the time it's because they're opposed to gambling, right? You don't know what you're going to get. But there's certain game companies that you can count on. So I know loads of people will be okay to pre-order CD Projekt Red games because of The Witcher, right? And for me, like Larian Studios and Divinity Original Sin, if they do another one, I know that I'll get that, because I know I can sort of, I don't know for certain, but I'm willing to hedge my bets that I can trust it and they deserve the money. So there are certain games that you can bypass that mentality, because you can kind of just, you can trust them. It's like, you're not going to leave your door open, but I'm sure there's a couple of people you'd give a key to your front door to. Yeah, there's certain games that I guess you can just push past that, and not every game company is like a money-grabbing bastard, right? So I don't know, man. If they make another Divinity, I'd pre-order that probably. I know it's not popular. To be honest, I don't know if I would. I mean, in theory I would, but the idea of having 40 quid out of my bank like 2-3 months before I get a game seems silly to me, because it's not like the game's going to be sold out on release day. So to be honest, unless it comes with some serious incentive, I won't buy something till release day because that £40 I can spend on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the time they don't take the money till they dispatch it, do they? So like Amazon or something, they'll keep the money in your account until it's actually been dispatched. But I don't know. I mean, what about you, Liam? Anything you'd break pre-orders for?
Maybe if there was some extremely limited collector's edition or something
of like a SNES Mini Classic, for example. Like
exactly, like hardware, I'd definitely pre-order because that does sell out very quickly. So like if they announce the PS5 tomorrow or whatever, I'd probably try and get on that as soon as possible. Or like something like the SNES Mini or a collector's edition. But like for actual game companies, I'd probably say Final Fantasy, because I will buy any Final Fantasy game no matter what. Even though Square Enix can be a pretty shitty company, I'm too much of a Final Fantasy fan.
Right.
I can't not have a Final Fantasy game.
Even if it's shit, it's just something for his collection, isn't it? So it's just like...
What are the main motivations these days, though? If you actually want it day one, you have to buy it before day one, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to buy it so that it's dispatched.
It's either
unless
that or
you go to the supermarket.
Go to a shop or whatever and get it.
Yeah, and there's less and less of those these days. So it's like flipping Tesco or something now. If you want it. If you really, really want it day one, maybe if you're getting a digital version or something, and the review, what's great is when the reviews come out about a good week before the game comes out. I can't remember the last time that really happened big style, other than Horizon Zero Dawn, and that the reviews came out like a full week before. And that was brilliant. That's exactly the way it should be done every single time. Like, you just give us enough warning of what this game is like. And they kind of they've been so funny about that release days. They get away with all this. Oh, but the servers aren't live yet, so we can't possibly let the reviewers play on quiet servers. And that's all with Destiny. So what you get is like a review in progress for like a fucking week after launch, and then you don't really know. You haven't got verdicts until a full week after. It's not good. It's not a healthy situation. So
no.
Pre-ordering's a tough one. I think if you have exceptions for it. I think what your motivations are. If there's no other way to get it day one, if there's bonuses are that flipping good that you just can't do without them.
If you're a collector, if you want like the T-shirt and the map and all this and all that, and there's like super rare like qualities and you're into the memorabilia of it, then I guess that's your biggest incentive, right? Because they're like, it's like the SNES Mini Classic. That's because it's like a genuine issue. Yeah, it's a genuine issue that it will sell out and never come back again. It's like that with the collector's edition.
I think as long as you remember and realise how bad pre-orders are as a wider thing, like they are not good. They are damaging the industry in a lot of ways.
Exactly.
And just the things that we touched on just then, the things that the companies are getting away with now, like not giving out review copies till day one, and not letting not activating servers till day one, and all those kind of things. They're all related to pre-orders. People buying the game before they know what the game is.
Yeah, exactly.
Hype culture and that sort of stuff. Yeah. It is bad. So try and not pre-order if you can help it. But if you really, really have to break it, then
exactly. That's the thing. I feel like that question's kind of like they're asking us because they know we're against it. So if there was one, but it's like realistically, hardware or something little very limited edition if you need it, but you don't really.
That's what it used to be, isn't it? That's what it was back in the day. Like
guarantee
limited
your copy.
Supply.
Guarantee your copy. Make sure that when you go to Woolworths, it's not sold out.
Yeah, you put a deposit down. They might need £1 off you to make sure that they keep it or something. You know what I mean?
I think games still do that. They take like a £5 off you.
Do they?
Yeah. There's no legitimate reason to do it.
Fucking game clasping for air these days, aren't they? So let's move on. SCJ 270. How is there a feature dedicated to shitty 10-second facts and not a feature dedicated to the duck button?
What's our feature about shitty facts? We've got fact of the week.
He might be talking about fact of the week. That's the only feature I can think of that's got the word fact in it.
Can't be.
Maybe he's on about the 30-second throwdown and he's got confused.
There's some facts in that, but
I guess
that's not 10 seconds. He specifies 10 seconds.
Oh.
So it must be fact of the week.
He's got something else on. There's the duck button. Is here.
You can't featureize the duck button.
What do you do? If I put it to the mic, is it going to be louder? Ooh, that's probably really loud.
That peaked big style. Yeah.
Sorry. You wanted the feature. I hope that hurt your ears. What is it? The duck button, it's large and in charge.
Part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have a feature about
Jake
every week, do we? He's part of the team as well. It's just
exactly.
The duck buttons.
We don't need a feature about me. I interrupt everyone else. The duck buttons had quite a good couple of features in here so far. We've used it
yeah,
a
it's
few
had some
times,
heavy utilisations. So.
For the duck button fans out there, he's getting some use.
Don't you worry.
Actually, Adult Swim recently, like to celebrate having a certain amount of Twitter followers, had a little competition where you could win one, and they called them super rare, and there was loads of people like looking to try and get one. So they must be. I don't know how rare they are. But yeah, so well, I don't know. Maybe you even entered it to try and get your hands on one yourself.
I feel pretty lucky now. So finally this week, to close us off, D-Jep says, "Hey, so cool you guys got the news team experience at EGX. What are some lessons you learned about covering a games convention? What new strategies will you bring to your next games convention?" Rudy asks a similar question, so no worries if you don't get to mine.
This is a really great question.
Also, that's your question. Yeah, it's... yeah, I think it kind of cemented a few things. Like we can definitely just do the interviews like that next time, and maybe refine it a little bit and whatever. But that's basically a doable thing now. We can just stand with an interviewer and talk, and we kind of got a format idea for it. I reckon we can still do a Saturday or a Sunday show, just stood out in the hall outside or something like we did on Sunday. I think that worked pretty well.
Yeah, I guess interviewing is the big thing because, like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I can say this, but when we the real interviews, the unedited ones, we were asking questions quite a lot to get all that information out of them. But then what we did was we edited our questions out in between, so it just the developer kind of became the spotlight, and it just flowed better. So I like that a lot more. I learned that, so I can figure out our way of leading in each question into, use the questions more of a segue, and then that way you can edit. I can edit myself out, and then that way it doesn't need to be about me, which, believe it or not, I don't always like. Also, I would like to implement a backpack feature that features concrete and spikes on there, kind of like something you'd see in Mad Max Fury Road, to put on Liam, because sometimes when he's filming, because by the way, lots of our camera work for our interviews was done by Liam, so it was well done to Liam, and it was really good. But there was one problem that we kept facing, and it was rude idiots that kept walking into another human being at full force. Why would you walk into someone holding a camera, you idiots? So maybe make kind of like a house robot from Robot Wars, make a defense system for Liam's back, and then that way if anyone tries to...
Complete with commentary.
Yeah, and then that way if anyone walks... if anyone walks into him, they will be impaled and die.
And that would be described by commentary. Like, it'd just be some exciting...
That could be a feature.
Oh, Matilda!
That could be a feature.
Even when I had the camera on the monopod, people were still like walking in front of me, walking like right into me. It's like, even when I was like trying to keep to a confined space, they were like, it was like they were magnetic towards me, just
exactly. So I think maybe
we
should try and figure out a way of, I don't know, maybe we should just hire simply Phil full time to just be a bouncer or something. Maybe
get a high fizz vest and like traffic cones.
Yeah,
it'd be all right.
We did a little bit of that, but it was like it was limited.
We did learn
in effectiveness.
We learned a lot. I think it was cool. I think we learned about cues, kind of like spreading out is super important. And I think the thing that I genuinely did learn the most is take advantage of the first day, because the first day there was like 10-minute, 15-minute queues for games like Shadow of War or something, and I'd be like, and then the next day it's 4 hours long, and I'm like, if I could go back and do that again, I'd make the most. And I noticed that quite a lot of other games press that were there for the first 2 days, and they weren't there on a Saturday and Sunday, and it's because of that, because they could have gotten to all the games. So for next one, we need to make the most of that first day, don't we?
Yeah. So it's all the learning experience, isn't it? But yeah, we'll definitely be doing that kind of thing again in future, in a different way, I guess. But with Rezzed and things like that, hopefully, or certainly the next EGX next year, if they have one, which I'm sure they will. So yeah, thanks everyone for your questions and comments. If you want to ask a question, just reply. You know what to do. Just reply to this post on Patreon. Just ask us a question and we'll ask it next week, and we'll answer it next week for you. You've been great doing it so far. You're always coming up with some interesting stuff. So anything that you think is a good conversation to have, or anything you'd like to see us talk about, just fire away. Thank you very much for watching the podcast. I've been Mike Williams. I've been joined by Jake Kulkowski and Liam Mckelvey. We'll see you next time.